Hello everyone and welcome to our community meeting today. I have a volunteer, Melanie, and we'll also be looking at Olive's chart as well. And Melanie and I will kind of co-host this meeting together. So the topic for this meeting is the transiting hot 20-degree pattern. Here is the pattern. Now this takes place on December 25th, Christmas Day, and it just looks so beautiful, don't you think? Okay, so we can just have a little look at this before we move on to the next slide. Got all the planets marked out. So here is the pattern in detail. We have 4 planets at 20 degrees. Well, actually we have 6, but the actual half star of David is made up of Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, all at 20 degrees. Just 1 second. Okay, so we have Uranus at 20 degrees Aries, Jupiter at 20 degrees Libra in opposition, and Saturn at 20 degrees Sag up here, and Venus at 20 degrees Aquarius. Now, Venus at the moment, I think it's about 13 degrees, so it actually is within orb of this pattern, and on Christmas Day it will be exact. We also have Black Moon Lilith at 20 degrees Scorpio here, and Chiron at 20 degrees Pisces. And as I was drawing up this chart, I thought, what else is there at 20 degrees? So I had a look around, and of course, the south node of Pluto up here and the north node of Mercury are both at 20 degrees. And the north node of Pluto down here in Cancer is at 20 degrees. And looking around here, we also have the south node of Mercury at 20 degrees Sag. And that's about it, I think. So it was very interesting to draw up this chart. Now, I think this chart looks very beautiful, and it's actually called a half star of David. It's rare and notable, so you know it's kind of important because it's very rare. It doesn't happen very often. And it'll be in orb just not that long really, because the Venus will then move on. So we will have Venus sextiling Uranus, Venus sextiling Saturn, Venus trine Jupiter, Saturn trine Uranus, Jupiter opposite Uranus, and Jupiter sextile Saturn. Plus we'll also have all the semi-sextiles. So the semi-sextiles go from here, 30 degrees to here, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30, 30, 30. So it's a very interesting pattern. Planetary patterns. Aspects are joined together to form planetary patterns, indicating there is a dynamic flow of energy between the planets. It is important to remember that the more patterns there are, the more possibility there is of integrating the energy flows. The chart is extremely helpful because there is a strong possibility of integrating the dynamic flow of energies between Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus. These are all positive flowing aspects, stress-free, smooth, helpful, and optimistic. We can still experience unexpected sudden changes, but they will not be too difficult. So in the pattern we're just looking at the main planets in the pattern. They are fire signs, which are yang, expansion of personal energy and willpower expressed on a wider basis, special destiny, purpose, creativity. We have the air signs, yang, relationships, the comparison of ideas, and interaction with groups. Asteroid Ceres and Juno, so we have Ceres over here conjunct Uranus, and Juno conjunct Saturn also form part of the hot 20-degree pattern and act as octave transformers by raising lower octave vibrations to a higher octave. Ceres is conjunct Uranus and Juno is conjunct Saturn. Note also that Black Moon Lilith sits at 20 degrees Scorpio. The role of the asteroids is to reawaken the feminine energy so that individuals and the collective become more whole. Now, the nodes of Pluto. We could include the nodal axis of Pluto, the fundamental root of any chart, at 20 degrees Capricorn Cancer. Coming down here, running down the center of the pattern, together with the north node of Mercury at 20 degrees Capricorn. The north node of Pluto in Cancer, in the empty half of the bowl, there's the bowl shape here. Well, that's the bowl shape up there. And here we have the empty half of the bowl. We don't take into account the nodes. So the north node of Pluto in Cancer in the empty half of the bowl is the focus of the chart and reveals the collective desire to evolve. All signs in the hot 20-degree pattern are yang, masculine, creative energy, moving out into a special purpose, while the nodes of Pluto and the north node of Mercury are yin, feminine, energy moving inwards, and all are working together in harmony, a most beautiful pattern to behold. So Melanie, you're going to be helping me to co-host today, to take the pressure off.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. And
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So going on to look at Saturn trine Uranus in a disseminating phase. These planets are hot fire signs, speed things up. They bring self-direction, self-motivation, and long-term goals. We can do something very realistic to help the collective. Eccentric, unconventional, and progressive people and ideas will not threaten the consensus, while the consensus will easily adjust to humanitarian and futuristic visions. The past complements the future, deconditioning, easy to understand and integrate on a social purpose. Opportunities to work constructively with others on our shared vision.
Thanks, Melanie. So any comments from our audience on this aspect, Saturn trine Uranus? We have Saturn over here in Sag and Uranus in Aries.
I had just a thought and a question. Since the oh gosh, I forgot the phase, but the 120 trine in that phase is the Leonian trine. Which trine is this one? Would that be the Aquarian trine?
This one is the disseminating phase, the disseminating trine at 240 degrees. Because Uranus here is the base, and then we go around here. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
No. I understand that it is a disseminating phase. I'm trying to equate the which trine is it energetically? The 240 trine.
Yes. Which is in the disseminating phase. You could call it a disseminating trine. The other trine is in the first quarter phase. So the other one would be down here.
That was more Leonian. It's the Leo trine.
That's the Leo one there. And so this is the Sag one.
Okay.
Yeah. So any other comments on this particular aspect? Okay, so we'll just move on to the next slide. Thanks for that, Wanda. Okay, so next one is Jupiter opposite Uranus, right here. It's in the full phase. It will be on December 25th. This is an expansion of revolutionary energies and optimism, unusual opportunities, unexpected, sudden, and radical events. Jupiter is re-stimulating the Uranus-Pluto squares for upheaval and change. New, unusual, and unconventional relationships and ways of relating. cooperation, positive relationships, courageous acts, throwing off past patterns, and realization of social purpose. So any comments on this aspect or questions? Okay. So Melanie?
Venus trine Jupiter, first quarter phase. Classically, this transit brings ease, grace, harmony, and pleasant social interactions, creative actualization, economic interests, listening, understanding, insights, patience, perseverance, idealism, laziness, joining with others in group activities, freedom within relationships, and honesty.
Thanks, Melanie. So this is quite an easy aspect. It's classically, very easy, graceful, brings harmony and pleasant. So that really helps with the whole pattern. And now we go on to Venus sextile Saturn up here. Venus in Aquarius and Saturn in Sag. It's quite easy to live up to duties and expectations. A good time to contemplate your relationships, commitments, long-term goals and expectations. New opportunities for development emerge. Economic benefits, discipline and perseverance applied to artistic and creative activities. Any comments? Okay, we'll go on to the next one.
Venus sextile Uranus, last quarter phase. Stimulating friends and group activities, new friends, a new relationship or group involvement may revolutionize your life, assimilating new understandings, easy or resisted transitioning from the past to the future.
So, yeah, thank you for that. Any questions or comments?
Just that you're really awesome for putting all this together, Linda. This is all very inspiring.
I spend so much time doing all this work that I really need to focus more on the astrology, I think. Oh dear. But anyway, we're all pretty tired today. We've all been sharing that we're all a bit tired, but never mind. So here we go. Jupiter sextile Saturn. Jupiter is in Libra, Saturn in Sag. Last quarter phase. Cautious approach to expansion. Idealism is balanced with conservatism. Balancing freedom with discipline. Honesty. Finances are approached with caution. Indulgences are curbed. Moving forward with realistic goals. New futuristic images may begin to emerge. Any comments? Okay, they're all very positive aspects.
I have a comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Sue. I noticed that there's the combination of I noticed that the combination of these aspects are all they're all different phases. So it's like at the same time.
Sue?
Hello?
Sue?
Sorry, I guess I got disconnected.
Okay, could you start again, please, Sue?
Yeah, I noticed that all of these aspects have different phases to them. So it's like we're...
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so it's like we're starting things and finishing up things, and everything is just kind of flowing and moving right along, I guess is what my thought is.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we have like 3 sextiles: Uranus, Venus, Venus, Saturn, and Saturn, Jupiter. And so the meaning of a crescent phase sextile, which is the waxing aspect, it's turning inward, isolation, contemplation, realizations, understanding of past experiences, planning the next steps, and new opportunities for development emerging. So we can see that that is a developmental aspect. And then we have the last quarter sextile, which means inner contemplation, reorganizing and assimilating new understandings, followed by the crisis at the waning square. Consciousness drinks from the purity of the ancient source, symbolized by the original conjunction, easy or resisted transitioning from the past to the future. New images may begin to emerge. So the new images are the new images of the new cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Sue. I didn't even think of it that way. So thank you for that.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. I just love looking at it. It just feels really good. I mean, it's only a temporary sort of pattern, but why not? Why not look at the positive? Why not be optimistic? Why do we have to keep looking at all the difficulties all the time? So yeah, so I'm really enjoying.
Well, and it's a point in time, and you know, I kind of look at it as maybe even like a reset or a landmark. You know, it's you know, we're up to this point, and here's where we're going.
Absolutely. I look at it as a bit of a reminder, like the universe tapping us on the shoulder and saying, hey, look what's coming up on Christmas Day. And, you know, this is a true gift, isn't it, from the universe?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I like this particular, I have this last quarter phase, the Jupiter, Saturn, but I have the square. And what I'm learning is that there is freedom in, you know, we get kind of upset with the limitations that Saturn puts on us sometimes, and we forget that that is a turning inward to question, you know, the expansion and beliefs that we've been, you know, under, to say, do I really want this? And there's actually can be freedom in some limitations. You know, limitations are not always bad.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. Like if we had unchecked expansion, we would just keep expanding out and out and out, and
right,
you know, until we disappear. So Saturn.
And there's issues that come along with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I have experienced that. And, you know, you sort of like too much optimism, too much, but then Saturn then reminds you, you know, don't make a fool of yourself kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it all works together. All the archetypes are very much needed, and they all work together in balance. So it's really very beautiful. Thanks for that, Wanda. Okay, so what do we have next? Okay, Olive. Olive can't be with us today, but I'm sure she will be watching the recording. So here we have Olive's chart in the inner wheel, and the outer chart is the transits for December 25th. And here's our pattern, the sextiles out here. And so for Olive, transiting Jupiter will conjunct her natal south node here. Transiting Saturn conjunct her descendant. Transiting Venus conjunct natal moon. And transiting Uranus conjunct the natal north node and Saturn. So Olive actually has planets at every single point, and which is interesting. So I've written out a few notes for her, so I'll start reading them. Transiting Venus conjunct Moon, over this one here. The loving and affectionate feelings for family and friends brought on by this transit will help to smooth the more difficult transits and the natal Moon square Venus aspect. So she has a natal Moon square, where's Venus? Here. The natal Moon square Venus here, Moon in Aquarius squaring Venus and Taurus. So we always look at the natal aspect first, but now that Venus is conjunct the Moon, this should help to smooth any difficulties that she has with her natal aspect. Venus through transit reflects the ongoing evolution of our inner relationship with ourselves and our outer relationships, the awareness of new and changing emotional needs. Then we go to transiting Uranus conjunct the North Node and Saturn, over here. The Uranian function activated by transits produces repetitive thoughts about the future. These repeating thought forms will prepare you for the future when you will act upon them at the right time. To understand this transit, we look at the issues for the natal position of Uranus. From an evolutionary point of view, Uranus is beginning a new phase in relation to natal Pluto. Down here, this is her natal position for Uranus, in new phase conjunction to Pluto. Therefore, liberation from conditioning patterns in the areas of home and work and family dynamics. This transit is a specific time frame in which the core theme of breaking away, deconditioning, individuation, and rebellion become the central focus. Transiting Uranus full phase in conjunct to natal Uranus can bring crisis, which leads to readjustments, refinement of vision, and a redefinition of your social purpose. With natal Saturn, conjunct here, conjunct Uranus, fears may rise to the surface because Uranus is shaking things up. The soul is asking for big changes to be made in terms of the evolutionary forward momentum of the North Node. Then we have transiting Jupiter conjunct the South Node, down here. A relive in terms of the nature of beliefs, Jupiter. The core message is to honestly and objectively examine the nature of beliefs that you hold to be true. These beliefs have been creating your reality. Revisiting the past life dynamics will reveal truth and knowledge. Natally, Jupiter sextiles your South Node, making this transit quite easy to handle. Then the last one, transiting Saturn, conjunct the Descendant, a new evolutionary cycle that brings major shifts, turning points, and new ways of relating to self and others. Close relationships and partnerships may make increasing demands upon you. As Saturn enters your social sphere, you must now integrate a social purpose into the external world, while at the same time honoring your responsibilities and agreements with others. So now we'll move on to Melanie's chart. So Melanie has transiting Jupiter conjunct natal Moon and Pluto up here. Transiting Saturn conjunct natal Neptune, yeah. And transiting Venus conjunct natal South Node. So Melanie, what would you like to say about any of those aspects? Melanie?
You need to unmute, hon.
Unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really huge for me. This winter has brought up some big stuff for me that I feel like was finally ready to be worked on. That this all feels like it was very supportive for. And I had told Linda something about that Saturn and stuff that it was triggering, saying it feels like a friend to me right now, even though it hurts. You know, it just hurts so good. But the core themes for me that are coming up have very much to do with as you said, the outer work, but then also like the family and community social stuff. And so I'll just tie this into some real life experiences, because I think that if I talk about the things that are happening in my life, it makes sense that how the transits are playing out for me.
Yes.
The two big things that are being hit right now that I'm feeling most deeply is that Jupiter right on my Pluto and my Moon, and that's really highlighting for me past childhood trauma, just my relationship with my mother and my upbringing in general, how that had really impacted and affected my ability to go out and engage in the world in a social way. And then also the Saturn right on my Neptune in the first house. And that's been, it's been there for a while. It's been orbited for a little bit. And as it was been getting closer and closer, I've really felt it. And it was right when it went exact is when I had some great epiphanies. But so just looking at how that's been playing out in my life, I own a business, and in this winter time, it really slows down. It's a very seasonal type of business. And so every winter, I have to find some sort of supplemental income, and I haven't gotten good at that yet. I haven't really gotten that part down, something that is just temporary. And also when the fall comes, I'm just really burnt out from working so hard in the summer, just staying so busy. So having that little bit of time to go in and have that downtime is important. But what happened this fall is I just couldn't get back up. Every time I'd feel myself getting motivated to go out and try to figure out how to support myself and my family, I would get sick or something, just get knocked back down. And this kind of just triggered me to go into a bit of a slump. And then while I was kept getting knocked back down by getting sick or anything else, it kept me from getting up and being accomplishing anything in my day. I started to really feel down about myself. And as I was going into those feelings and appreciating having those feelings, a lot of things started to become really clear for me. I've always known that as a response to my childhood, the way that I grew up, there was beyond having a stressful family life, I had a lot of vocal and motor tics as a coping mechanism. And so anywhere I go, growing up in Oklahoma, in a place that wasn't very forward thinking, I think a lot of people around me didn't know. It's different where I live now in Olympia. I think people are nicer to people with disabilities, but people would always tell me how awful I was or how stupid, and then my family would call me things and treat me a certain way and tell me, oh, I'm stupid or any of that. My way of kind of coping with that was to never take their words personally. Just tell myself, oh, well, I know I'm good enough, even if they don't, see it. I know that I have value, and they just don't really know me. And I kind of conditioned myself out of feeling shame or guilt, I think. I mean, I feel it in an intellectual way, but I'm just so optimistic and forgiving of myself in so many ways, that having this time to really start to feel down on myself and look at myself critically was really helpful. And I noticed that Jupiter there really highlighting those wounds that defense had come from, helped me to come to terms with the fact that I have been carrying around PTSD since my childhood. And I've had to cope with it by keeping this really positive attitude and staying busy. But this winter, because I wasn't able to stay busy, that was getting really triggered for me. And I realized there's so many ways that I hold myself back in the world because of that, with my moon in the 10th house and my Pluto in the 11th. I feel like that signature right there, really holding a lot of that PTSD for me, has shown a lot of the ways that I've have been affected by that in the way that I am able to put myself out into the world. I kind of do it in spurts, and I'll gain some confidence, but as soon as something comes up to shake my confidence, then I retreat. And I really like a lot having my environment show me a lot of affirmations, and that'll keep me going. But the second I have to, I'm shown that I really do need to be better prepared, then I get scared off. And I think I have kind of a fear of actually really putting the work in, because while I was telling myself that I was good enough, I wasn't ever trying to actually prove it. And my family didn't really give me the support I needed to go out and be successful. So I've never really proved myself. You know, it's just this story about being good enough. And I realized too that Saturn on my Neptune is really highlighting for me that the answer is that whether it's scary for me or not, I just have to do the work. I just have to prepare. And even the part where I'm prepared will give me confidence when it's time to do it. But either way, I have to just be out there doing the work and not have to wait until I feel right first or anything. It's kind of funny too. I wanted to say that around the time that Saturn went right on my Neptune, I was gifted a present by a woman who owns an art gallery. You can't see it very well, I suppose. This is a statue of Neptune.
Oh.
And yeah, carved out of redwood.
Uh-huh.
And so I felt like it's nice whenever I do get lots of affirmations, you know, from my environments that are kind of more like those coincidences or synchronicities and stuff. I do get lots of those kinds of affirmations. And the way that I've adjusted to living is very much kind of within this spiritual mind frame, where as long as I'm doing my spirit work, as long as I'm working on those aspects of myself, you know, I really see that now, like being highlighted in the Neptune in the first house in Sagittarius. As long as I just kind of get stuck living in that realm though. I'll be living in my dreams, getting information and guidance and intuitions from my dreams and just throughout the day. And for me, it feels like I've done enough to have had a spiritual experience, you know, or.
I just want to comment, Melanie, that bear in mind that Saturn has gone around the whole wheel 28 years and it's back and it's just crossed the ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest don't be too hard on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, you're planting new seeds at this time. And, you know, as Saturn moves through the first house, it's, you know, new directions, new instinctual attractions, and it's very much a process of trial and error. So you've got plenty of time, because you've got all that time again, you know, when it, you know, another 28 years. And when it reaches your 10th house, then that'll be the highest point of achievement there for Saturn in the 10th. So you're just starting out a new cycle. So yeah, take it easy.
Yeah. And I totally, I get that. And crossing the ascendant was a big deal for me. Feeling Saturn through the 12th house was a big deal for me. Definitely. And now it's over the ascendant. I really want to have that, you know, motivation now to start getting out there and doing my purpose.
Fair enough.
But now I'm not fully free from Saturn with the Pisces energy because of that Neptune. And so
yeah,
I can see that really helping a lot. It's a second chance to revisit some of those things that needed to shake up, I think.
Okay.
And really but also to bring that Neptune into a more useful way of me working with it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 2 minutes left, so I'd love to hear about transiting Venus on your south node. It's within Orb now, so anything happening there? This is the self-worth. You have mentioned it before. Pluto just entered your second house, so that ties in with that. So any comments on this aspect?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's activating my my squares to the nodes, and one square in particular, the Chiron in the 6th house. I just had a big flash of insight the other day that my healing actually comes from me going out there and helping others in the way that I hadn't been helped. And so that's where I'm able to get over myself. That's where I'm able to stop holding back, because it becomes really important to me. That's integrating that through that south node is now to how do I use that, the ways that I've been hurt, to help others. Whether I don't feel like I'm gonna just heal first and then I'll be good and I can go out and do that. Like, that's how I heal. I just have to do that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's great. So here we are back at the panel. So we've got less than a minute. Thank you so much, Melanie. That was incredible. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. I hope it was helpful. There's so much for me that I could talk about around there. I don't want to.
I know, and I was like, I thought we'd have too much, spare time, but we didn't. We had just enough time, I think.
We're always good at using it.
Yep. Yep.
So
thanks, Melanie. That was great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. Wanda,
Thanks, Melanie.
Carol,
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
thank you so
Yeah,
much,
thank you, Linda.
everyone. See you at the next meeting.